Just a little rant for tonight. I feel it's necessary in order to counter these calls, underhanded calls for violence, and basically a call for a second civil war. This kind of rhetoric is not productive to society. Now, I have some subscribers and friends on here who were part of the original Teabagger movement, or Tea Party movement, I should say. They were inspired by Ron Paul and the United States Constitution and so on. And when they first got started, they had very, very legitimate concerns, and they still do to this day, including this healthcare mandate in the current healthcare bill. But it has moved far, far beyond this, because essentially the Tea Party movement was infiltrated by some of the most right-wing elements and corporate elements in our society. So the original impetus has been lost, has been channeled to where most people now in this movement tend to think that the only solution to our problems is to overthrow the United States government. There are many things wrong with our government. I wouldn't call myself to be satisfied with it, to say the least. But to call for a violent overthrow, to make credible threats against members of Congress and their families, and what's more, their supporters, is quite a different story. Here we have people like a 57-year-old former militia leader who is on government disability because of congestive heart failure, diabetes, and hypertension. And he's now advocating throwing bricks at Democrats in office because he doesn't like the current healthcare bill. He doesn't seem to question that this very program that he's on is actually helping him keep alive. So he takes the larger view of just eliminating the government altogether. You know, burn it down, basically. He's advocating for, not for physical violence, but for, possibly, very definitely damaging property, burning down things, and calling for civil disobedience on that level. Now, in all honesty, of course, people on the left, like myself, have also advocated the very same thing in terms of the Seattle protests against globalization and so on. So it is not essentially a bad thing to have this kind of civil disobedience. But what the people now in the Tea Party movement don't understand is that this entire aim goes much further. It is a call for physical violence against your opponents. And I don't just mean the opponents in government, I mean your own neighbors, your own friends, your own family members. Because this is where this movement is headed. The level of intolerance against other people's opinions, and thanks to our mainstream media, who loves to have a confrontation every single night, is distorting several facts, including this healthcare bill, which I don't agree with, but it is not cause for a revolution, especially not a violent revolution. Now, when I get emails, from some of these Tea Party people that say the action has come, the time has come to take actions into our own hands. The Washington Democrats no longer represent the people of America, and it's time to take actions to stop these socialists before they ruin this great nation. I would say, yes, they don't represent America, but they aren't socialists. This is probably one of the most pro-corporate democratic administrations you will ever see. So you're actually barking up the wrong tree when you say that. And it goes further, these letters go further. They say that Obamacare took this to the next level, and now we are no longer dealing with just socialists, we're dealing with murderers. So in other words, you're calling half the population who voted for Obama, no less, murderers. Murderers. This means you're calling me a murderer, my neighbor a murderer, my friends a murderer, simply because you cannot get over the fact that Obama won the election. Now, I have much criticism regarding the Obama administration, as many of my viewers know. And these arguments are driven essentially by a sort of Christian fundamentalist movement who who want to bring their abortion argument into this whole issue, okay? Which, that's fine. If that's what they want to do, if they call abortion murder, and if they want to call anybody that supports Obama a murderer because of that, they are so deluded. It's beyond belief. First of all, it's your own decision whether you want to support abortion or not. So if you don't want to have one, don't have one. And the thing that gets me is that these very people have absolutely no problem in supporting our foreign wars abroad, where actual people, babies, get killed on an everyday basis. These people didn't, for the most part, took part in anti-war protests. In fact, they're vilifying those of us who did. Because we, evidently, here in America, our lives and our babies and our unborn babies are worth more than anybody else. This is essentially hypocrisy in a nutshell. And so now, these people have become radicalized to the point where they are threatening, or trying to threaten or intimidate people, actual people, not just politicians, but actual people who disagree with them. This is not a good development. And rest assured, it will not go unanswered. So to my friends who are involved in this Tea Party movement, I would have to say that you will need to disassociate yourselves from white nationalist movements, from warmongering rhetoric, and from completely intolerant viewpoints, which are spewed out on your national television on every single day. The original supporters of the Tea Party were, in my opinion, not racists or white nationalists, but this is precisely what is happening to their movement. And it is up to you. It is up to you to denounce these people once and for all and not give them any more credibility. You need to denounce Glenn Beck. You need to denounce Michelle Malkin. You need to denounce all these people who are calling for outright violence in our society. I hope you will do this.